Welcome to Model Horse Tech School. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to do a viewer request on beaded headgear. This is sample one. This is my favorite way of doing it, and it's only going to work if you can find the chain that I use. And I don't know if it's out there anymore. I haven't seen it at Walmart. It was there for about 10 years. But anyways, there's this particular chain. It's a bead and ferrule. So it's nice and tiny. You can see how tiny that is. So you've got a bead and then a ferrule and a bead and a ferrule. I really like it because it's nice and small. If you can find it, awesome. So the first thing I would do is that's my Rommel rein end. I went ahead and tooled it and colored it. And then on all of the pieces, I have cut them to length. And then I went ahead and super glued a wire. So super glued it into the long bead. And it has to be super glued because we're metal on metal. And you can kind of see, I'm trying to show you there. So when I've done that, then I'm using my braided braiding cord. So this is braided braiding cord. See, it's braided. I don't know how many threads it is, but it's braided. Again, that was a Walmart thing. So was the chain, by the way. Might be somewhere else. On the braided braiding cord, you remove the center thread. And then in this case here, this is one of the ways that I attach. Just go ahead and put a hole in there, slip it through, and then flatten the braided braiding cord so that I can fold over, glue it down, clamp it. All right, there, I'm going to open that a little bit. I am going to use, again, the crazy glue, put some on the wire, and then the wire's a little long, so I'm going to have to trim that. And then go ahead and stick that into the center of the braiding cord like that. So there you go. I'll go ahead and give that time to dry. It dries pretty quickly. On the other end, I'm going to use maybe about 1.5 inches. I usually make them too long, but about 1.5 inches of the cord, pull out the center, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue the bead string on there. Now this is true whether it's a glue, whether you use my chain here or if you thread your own beads. This is all pretty much the same process, except instead of wire, you're going to have thread. And you can use white glue instead of super glue. So this process works for whether you strand your own beads or whatever. So here is for the rein. On the rein end, I've got just maybe a 1/2 inch length of leather lace that's been nicely skived. And I'm going to go ahead and super glue on one end the chain, okay? Trying very hard not to touch this glue because it gives me a horrendous rash and foot cracks. So I'm allergic to this stuff. My body reacts in weird ways. Okay, so now this is, I think, about 7 inches. I measure it around, where I want it on the saddle, on the horse usually. I just didn't have it tacked up. So it's about 7 inches of braided cord. That's too long. 12 is too long. But I'm pulling out the center. And you have to be careful, like in this case here, it broke. Then you have to go, that thread in the center broke. So then I had to do it from the other side. It makes it more flexible, and then you can use that center for whatever you want to put in there. So again, I'm kind of trimming. Trimming the wire and then gluing it in there. And trying to kind of make it a little bit smaller so it merges with the bead. But there's the reins. So now I'm going to get it perfectly in half. I'm going to glue it. And then for this part, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I take that thread that I pulled out of the center because it's the right color and tone, put a slip knot on it, And that's what I'm going to use for my wrap. You could wrap with wire if you wanted. I usually just wrap with thread. So here we go. I got it glued right where the fold over is. And then I just wrapped it multiple times. And then once it's fully wrapped, then we go ahead and put a little glue on it on the top, hold it in place, and then trim. Now we have to do the same thing for where the reins are attached. So again, make sure perfectly same length, and then we'll go ahead and put that slip knot. Looks easier said than done. We'll put that slip knot right there on the rein. Pull that tight, and then we'll go ahead and do the wrap. And that's W-R-A-P, not R-A-P. I'm not very good at R-A-P. All right, so we trim that up. And that's what your connection looks like. Okay. Now the rein is done. And now we're working on the breast collar. So, you could pre-string beads if you can't find this chain and just get them to the length that you like. And then you'd have threads on both ends and you could do it just this way. Okay. I need a couple of D's for my breast collar, and that would be on the ends. I'm using 1/16 because we kind of want this to be delicate because the chain that I'm using is so delicate. Okay, for this breast collar, I'm using a double, which is only possible because this chain is so nice and delicate. So I am spinning the wires so that they're right next to each other. The strings of beads are right next to each other. And then we're going to go ahead and glue that onto a little piece of lace. And we're going to do the same for the other side. Go ahead and spin those wires. I suppose if it was beads, you could go ahead and spin the threads, or you just glue the thread side by side. Thread is easier to deal with than the wire, but I have to deal with the wire because that's the only way I can attach these. So I've shown you guys how to make a breast collar. The rest of this is pretty much the same. All you need to do is assemble that center piece for your breast collar. And then you're going to glue the center to a jump ring. You're going to glue the outsides to a D-ring. You're going to attach your breast collar center to a piece of leather lace. And then you're going to create your buckle strap that attaches to the cinch. So I'm not going to teach you how to make a breast collar again. This is about a 5mm jump ring that's small enough to hide behind that breast collar center. Because I could make these really boring. It's just really just the technique of how to deal with the beads. We're going to move on to the, this is the bridle. So this is the ear, and I'm still using 2 strands, but I'm going to have to glue those together because they won't stay together. So once I glue the one ear onto the bridle, then the actual chain itself I flatten into place. Then I put a little bit of glue on it. Otherwise, like I said, it doesn't want to lay flat. And then of course next would be to add a curb chain, which magically appears. There you go. That's just the bridle. Pretty simple. Just adding little silver studs to make it look like the parts are riveted on instead of glued. And so that was on the one ear, and then before and after the bit. And I just use white glue for that. I find it holds pretty good. But these beads have a hollow center. They're domed, so that really helps them stick better than a flat. The flats stick fine too, but I like these. Sue Sparkler doesn't look like she's in business anymore, so that's kind of a bummer when I'm out of these. I don't know who I'm going to get them from. Okay, so that is the first step in showing you how to do the beaded headgear. I do have another one that'll show how to do the black one on the other side, um, which is stringing the beads. I want to really thank you for spending time with me today. Like, subscribe, share. Any other ideas that you want me to try and do, go ahead and put those in the comments. Have yourself a really good day.